my subject on my first PowerPoint because I wanted to make a surprise, whatever. Well, okay. But as I was researching on what to present about, I wanted to do something about that I didn't know so I could learn, from the presentation also. And what I always felt interesting were cults. And so that's what my presentation is going to be about. So, question. Does anybody know who this is? You guys are supposed to know. Okay. Alright, well this is Charles Manson. Just from my presentation. Okay, so who is Charles Manson? He was born on November 12th, 1934, and he didn't have a good family situation. His mom was a prostitute. She had him when she was 16. She didn't want to have anything to do with him, so she abandoned him, and he was just left on the streets and was just getting through with petty crime, going in and out of jail. And he ended up getting involved in drugs, and so that's where he kept on going behind bars and living a separate life. And this is also what made him, form his own family cult, if you could say. And so that's what I'm going to talk about, the Manson family. So who was the Manson family? Basically, it was all about Charles Manson. The whole cult was surrounded about him, self-centered in it. At one point, the family had 100 members, over 100 members, and so he had a lot of influence. He had this intuitive power to dominate others and to tell them what to do and to brainwash them with drugs and hallucinogens. And so that way, he could make them kill somebody without thinking that it was a bad thing. He brainwashed them to think that death was an illusion and that it wasn't real. And so that's why they killed so many people in such a short amount of time. And he also brainwashed them that he was God or Satan and the reincarnation of Christ. And everybody believed that women were underdogs and that it was part of the family hierarchy. So what did the Manson family actually do? Alright, so the first homicides that happened were called the Tate homicides, and it was on August 9, 1969, and it was held at Sharon Tate Polanski's house. She was an actress, and so she and her husband and Abigail Golger, Stephen Parent, Jay Sebring, and Boyd Friosky were all murdered that day. And the reason why this was so big was because she was an actress and she had an 8-month-old baby, unborn baby, and so the baby also died too. And then the second murders that happened were called the La Bianca murders. This happened 2 days after the Tate homicides. And La Bianca, they were stabbed a dozen times to death. And so this was just really brutal and gory. That's why the public really, thought that this was a big deal. And then the final one was Donald Shea. And Donald Shea was a former stuntman, and then this is the last one that they actually investigated. They predict that there were about over 35 murders that happened under Charles Manson, and so it's a huge controversy. So why did he direct these murders? He believed that there was Armageddon, which is, he believed that the black men were going to gain power and kill all the white people. And when the Armageddon didn't happen, he decided to take it into his own hands, and so he directed all these murders to happen and show the black people how it's done. And then this is Charles Manson here, before and then after his prison. So where is he now? He was first sentenced in San Quentin's death row. Then the California Supreme Court declared the death penalty to be unconstitutional. And 35 murders is kind of ridiculous. And so his sentence was reduced to a lifetime in prison. And so I'm going to show you this video. Sorry.
So Manson?
It's him in a nutshell. You guys might be a little creeped out.
Four or 500 people, then I would have felt better. Then when I felt like I really offered society something. You know, if I wanted to kill somebody, I'd take this book and beat you to death with it, and I wouldn't feel a thing. It'd be just like walking to the drugstore.
Do you feel blame? Are you mad? Do you feel like Boots about right friends? Get friends, Boots,
Peter Rabbit,
Okay, so, I mean, obviously he's not in the best state of mind. So, there's Charles Manson. I'm sorry you guys knew about him before I gave this presentation.